Oh, good. Now it's frozen. Oh, my God.
If you feel like you're going to stay here in this body, we're going to praise the Lord. You know, so that's how I encourage.
Say that a little louder. Say it again. The people in the back.
Well, the people in the back, you have to speak to that illness. Speak to that illness.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Our apologies for being so late. We had some technical difficulties. Oh my goodness, the devil is a liar. Let me put comments on here. Let's see. Checking one thing here. There we go. I have to use my iPad and everything's freezing on me.
Is it?
There we go. Okay. So welcome, everybody. Our apologies. We were having some major technical difficulties getting Miss Kimberly on, but she is here now. So thank you for hanging on. So sorry we're a little late, but I'm glad we got this going. That's the problem with going live, unfortunately. But I will say recording it is not as easy as you would think. So anyway, I'm not gonna take too long with the introduction here, but I'm Paula Denoncourt, founder and CEO of Enrich Your Health. I'm a holistic health consultant. I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, speaking engagements, and now my own TV show. So I help people with things like food allergies, food sensitivities, autoimmune issues, things like that. So I have like ebooks and digital ebooks and recipe books on my website, Enrich Your Health. If you're listening, that's ENRICHURHEALTH.com. And then if you're watching, you can see that right on the screen. So you can go to the website, you can get a free gift there, Reversing Illness ebook. And you can also get another ebook, 6-Day Immunity Meal Plan Guide, for free. So feel free to go over there. If you do go to the store and it's empty, don't panic. Go to the other store. It's under construction. So I don't want to talk too long about myself. I do want to say we are looking for more guests. We're looking for more sponsors. So please feel free to reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram Messenger. That's a good way to get me. Or you can text me. Phone numbers on the screen. Or you can, if you're listening, it's 508-330 9665. Sorry, I'm all frazzled from trying to get Miss Kimberly on, but I'm excited to have Miss Kimberly Broadway on. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I'm excited to have somebody tell another story about breast cancer. We had an amazing guest last week. Oh my goodness, if you have not watched that, please go watch the replay. So I welcome everybody wherever you are, if it's evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. I welcome you all. Let me just pull up the questions here. Okay, there we go. So we want to introduce Miss Kimberly Broadway. Oh my goodness, see now, I don't even know what I did with your bio after all this. So Kimberly, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you, where you grew up, and what's been oh man, I'm so frazzled. I am so sorry. So just tell us a little bit about your background and who you are. And we welcome you. Thank you for coming on tonight.
All right. I am super excited to be here. Despite the technical difficulties, you guys, I think by now I'm getting used to this. It can happen. It does happen. And what you do is you just tell yourself, okay, it's still me behind the scene and they're waiting on me and I'm going to get there eventually. And when I
Yeah.
get there, I'm going to let them know that we had technical difficulties and the show is going to go on. So that's how we were handling it behind the scenes, even though she was still working. Miss Paula was working really hard, to get us here. But a little bit about
I,
myself. You
I
were?
lost everything. Not lost, but not where it was.
Oh, wow. A little bit about me for those of you who don't know me and is watching this interview for the first time. My name is Kim Broadway. I market myself as a public figure. I am a mother, a grandmother, a proud grandmother. I am an educator by trade, a boutique owner, and I love marketing. I love marketing. Any type of marketing, I'm on it. And I really should have majored in that when I went to school, but I didn't. At that time, I didn't know. I was undecided for so long. And since I've been in this area with education, when my children come in, they're fifth grade, come into the middle school setting, fifth grade, and they still have their baby ways. But one day you'll see them and they're babying, and in that second year when they start to transition, and you will see them trying to come out of that shell where they want to be older. But the first question I ask them is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the reason being is I was undecided for 3 years. 3 years was a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time. And if I had known then what I know now, I could have had a minor and I would have had something else to fall back on. Not really knowing what I wanted to be, not really finding that niche until I was in my mid to latter 20s. And I had graduated college and I was living out in Dallas, Texas. But to piggyback a little bit, I am from a small town called Marianna, Arkansas. It's about 45, 50 miles west of Memphis. And I grew up there in that town. I am a member of the 1985 Lee Senior High School graduating class. I graduated and I left and I moved. I went to the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. I was there for 4.5 years. I left there and I moved to Dallas, Texas, and I resided in Dallas, Texas for 10 years. And then I wanted to be closer to family, so I moved back, and I'm only like an hour away from my mom. If I wanted to get to her or she wanted to get to me, she wouldn't have that far to go.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about my background.
Okay. Well, welcome, Kimberly. Thank you again for being on. And I do thank everybody for hanging in there with us with these little technical difficulties. But I'm excited to have you on and, have you share your journey with breast cancer. So tell us a little bit about your journey. How old were you when you discovered you had breast cancer? How did you discover you had it? Were you married at the time? Give us a little background. Working.
I was in my early to mid 40s. Yeah, because I'm in the mid 50s now. Yeah, going into okay. So it's because it'll be 10 years come next March. I will say this. It is so important to get your mammograms, ladies. It's so important. I can say ladies and gentlemen, because some men has been diagnosed with breast cancer and they can have breast cancer. I had gone, it was 2014, I had gone 2 years and I had missed having my mammogram. And so all of a sudden it was the beginning toward the almost middle of January, and I realized that I had gone too long, and I was like, oh, I got to have my mammogram. I need to call. So I stopped and I called the doctor to schedule an appointment to get a screening. And for some reason, I think the primary care doctor that I was seeing, she had relocated, and none of the patients knew about this. And then when I found this, going through this process, I found out she had relocated. So they had a new doctor there, and she was saying that I had to get a referral. And I'm like, what? What do I do all this for? So anyway, I proceeded to get the referral. It took about 2 weeks. So by that time, it was the end of January. So I got the referral. I got my appointment. Went in to have a mammogram screening. So they told me it would be a few days or so. If everything was okay, they would I would get something in the mail, or vice versa. If not, they usually call you, and which they did. I think it was a couple of days or so that had gone by, and they called me, and I was at work, and they told me that they saw something on my mammogram. They wanted me to come in, to have a diagnostic screening. And those are the screenings that are more intense, more, where they're more clear. You can see really, really better on those screenings.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went in for my mammogram, for my diagnostic mammogram. And as I walked in, she put me on the machine, and she started, examining and moving me around. And so she pulled up the slides as she got finished, and we were going over the slides. And I said, what is that? I saw this blog or something on the left breast on the screen. I was like, what is all that? And she said, well, that's what we're here to find out. And so then I said, well, what's this on the right side? I saw these little bitty, little something. It looked different, but you knew something was there. It was like a lot of little old dots. She said, well, those are calcifications. I said, well, what is that? She said, that means that it's actually coming into the right breast as well. And I was like, oh, okay. Wow. So I got that, finished that test that day, and they told me that they were going to look at those, look at the screening, and they were going to call me back, in which they did. They called me back, and they wanted me to have another screening because after I had a conversation with the doctor, they wanted to do a biopsy on the breast. And so this was kind of like a sequence of things happening back to back. I can't really remember exactly how many days it was, but I know it wasn't a lot. It was like a back-to-back thing. So it's maybe like I'm in one this week and I'm back in there in the next, 3, 4 days, no more than 5 days, I'm back in there. So I went back for the diagnostic. I did the diagnostic. I went back to have the procedure where they go in and they take the samples of the tissues from the breast. I was going back for that. And so that day, that was the day that I call it the dreadful day in my book. I called it the dreadful day because a lot happened that day. And so I got there that day, and she took another look at my pictures when I got in there. I went to the back. It was a long procedure. I talked to the doctors, and everything went well. I was just kind of looking for my mom to show up that day, but she was coming from Arkansas, so I don't know, she was delayed. So I ended up having to go through the procedure without her, which I had a good nurse. She held my hand and so forth. So after that, I was getting ready to leave out for the day, and I had been there all day. It was a long, drawn out procedure. And so we had the biopsy, and on my way out, the technician that was doing the test for me on the machine, she said, come here, Miss Broadway. And I said, well, what's wrong? She said, let's just go have another look. I just want to take another look. And I was thinking, we finished. I've been here all day. In my mind, I'm thinking, I said, okay. So we go in, and she put me back on the machine. And for some reason, she was just really pressing and really moving my breasts around and really making sure I was aiming. I was, in awkward positions, and she was taking so many pictures. And she said, okay, I know you good. You go and get dressed. You're going to be good. I just wanted to do this. And I think something more like spiritual effect had led her to do it. Cause it's like out of the blue. So
Right.
all of a sudden, before I could get dressed, she called me and she said, Miss Broadway, don't put your clothes on. And I said, why? What's wrong? She said, no, you need to come back. And so when I walked back in the room, the screen was up. And I looked up at the screen and I said, what is that? And she said, that's what I want to know. I had a whole nother nodule, and it was like really, really big. It was behind the first nodule
Oh,
that was
wow.
on the breast. And I thought, oh my goodness, wow, what if we didn't? And so then the doctors, they wouldn't let me go. They said, the doctor, she said, I can't let you go home. We got to have a conversation. If it were my sister, my daughter, I would not let them leave. We got to do something. What do you want to do? We're going to give you a choice. You can either stay here, get back on that table, go through this procedure and let us get samples of this other side of what we just found, or you can come back and do this all over again tomorrow. And it was after office hours. It was after 5:30. Everybody else was gone, all of the patients except for the staff that was still there. And I just said, no, let's get it over with. And my mom was sitting out there by herself. When I got out there, she was sitting out there. I went on and got it done, you guys. And yes, that was cancer. And it was growing, and it was growing more rapidly than the cancer that was in the front. Can you imagine?
Oh, wow. So back up a
So
little bit. Were you married at the time with children?
I had my son was here, but I wasn't married. I was actually divorced. I wasn't married at the time. So yeah.
That makes it harder. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it harder, but I can say this. My school, my friends, and my family were so supportive. I had so much overwhelming support until I tell anybody it is so worth it. And that's how I made it through. That's
Mm.
how I made it through. I had the utmost support. My whole entire school, the day of the surgery, my mom and dad was there, and they told me when I woke up that they thought I was Michelle Obama. They said, I didn't even know you were that popular. My dad said, I didn't know my daughter was that popular. Oh my God. And my sister had her phone and my phone, and she was just back and forth. Oh, they were calling. How's she doing? Did she come out? She was rolling with both telephones. I had a couple of my cousins were there. One cousin and her family, my other cousin from Arkansas came. One of my good friends I grew up with, went to school with, she was there. So it's like when I woke up and looked around in my room, I saw these people there, and it's just a feeling you get. It really was so overjoying to have that support. Even going through some of the chemo I had, my cousin would come up and she would sit with me, or she would make sure she was there. My mom,
Mm-hmm.
it makes a big difference. It makes
Absolutely.
a big difference. Yes, it does.
Yeah, so let's just back up a little bit. So my last guest, just so everybody knows, like there are so many different ways to realize that you have breast cancer. So my last guest, Antoinette, she found out she had breast cancer because her nipples started bleeding. So that's how she found out, which was very different for me. Like I never heard that before. I've always heard it's a lump or a couple of lumps. Like my mom, hers was like a dot. They barely even saw it on her mammogram. So everybody is different. So like you said, I want people to really understand these different ways that it can be diagnosed or found out about. So like you said, you had not just one but two cancerous tumors there. So it's pretty profound to me, all the different ways that we can get breast cancer and how we have to know what could be a symptom of it. And full disclosure here, I forgot to mention, nothing we say tonight is medical advice meant to treat, heal, or cure any illness. Please seek your doctor's advice. I just want to add that in there. But yeah, I just wanted to add that. And it's wonderful that you had such an awesome support system. That's so amazing. Yeah. So now, so let's go back to you. What was your next step? Like chemo, radiation? Did you have your breasts removed? What was your, tell us step by step what was next?
I had my breast removed. I talked to my breast surgeon. I was very adamant about having a really good surgeon. So what I did, I had a friend I grew up with who worked for St. Jude Hospital. And so I texted her and I told her what was going on. And I said, I don't know anything about a surgeon and I need help. And she assisted me. She said, I know who to ask. So she asked somebody and they came back and they gave me two names. And so I wanted Swartzberg, but they told me that he had gone international and I couldn't get him. So I told the lady on the phone that day when she called me, I said, well, what about Morose? She said, oh, I can definitely get her. And her history of removing breast tissues was really, really high. They said she was so good at it.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I found people that I talked to afterwards that told me, one girl told me that her grandmother had her years ago for breast cancer. And I'm thinking, I'm in my 40s, and you say, oh wow, this lady has. And so,
Yeah.
needless to say, she retired this year in January. So I
Wow.
hate it, but she had started to moving out because it was her time. And what she would do is she would come back and just read the reports, of our mammograms or so.
Mm.
But I made a decision to remove the breasts because of the statistics they gave me. They told me if I have a lumpectomy, which meaning they will go in, remove the mass from that breast, that I would have a 85% chance of a survival rate.
Mm.
They told me if I remove both breasts, that I would have a 98% chance of
Wow.
survival rate. So which one would you pick?
Mm. Yeah.
So it was a no-brainer. I was like,
Right.
okay, I don't really have to have them. If I just want to live, I want to be happy, and if this be so be it, okay. If I meet somebody, if he can't understand that, then it's too bad. So I
Yeah.
didn't think long and hard about it. I I did move swiftly into making decisions because there was a process. I think it was about a 2.5 to 3 month time frame before I actually
Wow.
went into the surgery. So during this process, I was seeing uh, the reconstructive doctor, the breast surgeon. I was going back and forth and trying to make decisions based on what I was going through. So it was a process, but it was well planned. I had a lot of support and had a total of 3 surgeries. Had the first surgery, and the side where the breast, where the cancer was, the breast bruised really, really bad during surgery. So it was like black. So she told me you're gonna have to come back in 2 weeks so we can remove the burned skin because it's not gonna heal.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 weeks after that the regular surgery, I went back, and now I'm wearing extenders, not implants, because I had to wear the extenders for like a total of 8 months. Well, I wore them to 6 to 8 months. I think I had them on. And so then I went back in for the second surgery, and then I think it was about a total of 7 or 8 months, I went to have the extenders removed and the implants put in. Now,
Oh,
during this process, there were different steps I was taking, going through the process. Um, the chemo process was really hard. During that process, I was actually just wearing the extenders. I had none of, because all of the reconstruction stuff comes at the end. And I started out with the drug called the Red Devil. And at that time, I was naive to all of that. I didn't know what that was. I had no clue of what chemo I was taking. I just was there, trying to endure it and try to go through it. And so after the third round, I almost died. So I
Ooh,
tell
it,
people,
it
this
was
is
called
my
the Red
thing.
Devil?
I almost died. This is what I tell people. Everything is not for everybody.
Mm,
And there are some instances where I see people go through cancer and go through chemo and they don't have a problem. And I just had got to that point where I said to my family, I'm ready to go home. And they were like, what do you mean? I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not cut out for this. This is too much for me. I just can't. And I had gotten sick and I didn't really understand at the time what was wrong. I couldn't do nothing. I was like a zombie. I didn't really know what was going on at the time. And God was dealing with me and I was crying out to him about how was I going to make it through this, because I had another round of that to take, and then I had 13 rounds of Taxol to take. And I thought, if I go, I can't even hardly for them just to administer it to me. It was so hard. I would gag. I'm about to puke. I mean, just to get it in me, not after it get in me and then it settled and I'm sick. It was like giving it to me was so hard for me. And so I don't know why. And I asked God why, and I cried out. And I was just at that point, I was ready to go, because I said, I can't sit on the couch. I can't do anything. And it
mm.
was time for me to go back, and I couldn't go back. It was 2 weeks still after, and I still was so weak, I couldn't do anything. I had 3 infections. The doctor had given me antibiotics, and the infections weren't clearing up. So I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
know, I just didn't really know what was going on. And God dealt with me in this era. And I have to tell people, you have to do what works for you. You cannot base what you're going through on the next person's, what they're
Mm,
going through.
yeah,
And that's how I took it, because it was a lot of praying. It was a lot of crying out. It was a lot of laying on my face. It was a whole lot of that for me to do what I did, because I had to complete the healing a different way.
right. Yeah. Pretty incredible. So explain to people what extenders are, because I've never heard the term. So I'm sure some people are out there like, wait, what's an extender? And if
Okay.
anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll ask Miss Kimberly when we get a
Okay.
chance. Yeah.
The extenders is like a little layer of skin that's behind the breast tissue.
Okay.
And what they do is it's not a silicone implant, but it probably has some type of solution in it, and it
Hmm.
kind of, so they open that little skin up, and they stick that extender in there, and it forms that cup for
Oh, wow.
the implant to sit up like your breast.
Oh, I've never heard of that. My
Mm-hmm.
mom had the just the little, the like fake boobs. No other way to say it. The things you just stuff in your bra.
Mm-hmm.
It was back in like 1990, so they didn't have all this good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
hate 'em.
come a long way. Yeah,
Yeah, she
that's the
hated them. She
beauty
made them
of it.
sweat. Yeah, she hated those things. Yeah, and they're heavy. Like it's not your real boobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, I remember her, she had those everywhere. She had all different ones. But anyway, so tell us, so you wrote a book so
Yes,
about
I did.
your journey. So hold up your book and tell us about your book.
Oh my goodness.
And I'll try to show the QR code at the end.
Okay.
Okay. A little bit of glare. Okay. What's the name of the book?
Embracing life more abundantly after cancer, living in my pink.
I love it. So tell us what inspired you to start writing the book? How long after the diagnosis of cancer, like how many years before you started to write the book?
It was about 8, because when I
8.
started to thinking about it, it was the 8th year.
Okay.
Well, 7.5 going into 8. It was the 8th year, because this year will be 10. So it was 7 going into 8, because it started. All of this happened right before COVID hit.
Mm.
That's when this all happened.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, I had a long talk with my publisher, and we decided to go and republish it, because there were some things that transpired during the process that I wasn't pleased with. And for me to be an entrepreneur and have this under my umbrella of who I am and who I represent and what I stand for, I wanted the book to be
Mm-hmm.
corrected. And so that's what we did. And it just gave me, I felt good. I felt complete, because when you set out to do something, a task, you want it to be right. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? And so now I'm at a point from this phase, I can go on to the next step, because I'm getting ready to add, I think it's 2 more chapters, maybe 3.
Oh
But
wow.
in that process, I'm going to have maybe some motivational quotes or
Mm-hmm.
scriptures and so forth in the book. Because once I get the book to 100 pages, then we're going to do something else with the book.
Oh wow. Okay. Nice. Well, that's good. So tell us, maybe read a little bit of and read a little passage or something from the book.
Okay, let me get my glasses, y'all. I want to just read a passage where on the in the introduction, because I said I was going to go on my, those of you who follow me on my group page, for the
Mhm.
boutique page, and on my regular page, we talk about it a lot. I mean, we
Okay.
do talk about it, and they know that I am the boutique lady who had cancer and survived it, and now I'm on this side. I'm still the boutique lady. I'm still the fashionista. I can dress you. You know what I'm saying? And then I
Yeah.
can also inspire you about my journey. And
Yeah.
I can help you, because I get a lot of calls from people, especially my girlfriends that are entrepreneurs, and they'll say, I know I need you to call. I need you to call. And they'll call me. Somebody needs to talk to you. I just talked to a lady last week that had gone through and gave her some, pointers on how I changed my diet, and how
Yeah.
it doesn't happen all overnight, but it can be done. But you just got to get focused and going
Right.
through it, trying to heal the way I healed. I had to be very disciplined. I could not eat all the stuff that I liked and wanted to eat. And at
Yeah.
that time, I didn't really care. I just wanted to get well. I wanted to get well. But we're going to read from the introduction, where it talks about cancer. And I want to dedicate this to a question that comes to mind when somebody asks me, what advice would you give a person that's going through cancer or has gone through cancer? Because when you come out of cancer, it's still a journey. It never
Yeah.
ends. It
Right.
never ends. It doesn't end. Your life has totally changed. Um, and it comes from Psalms 118:17 says, I shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord.
Mm.
My acronym for cancer is below. Cancer, C stands for commitment to the process. A stands for anticipating my new beginning. That means never giving up,
I love
going
it.
through it and never giving up, no matter how dark the day is, no matter how bad you feel when you come home from that treatment and you sitting in that room isolated like I was, and my family was out front watching TV, and I was so sick I could not join them. But in that process, I was still talking to God, and I was still claiming my life, and I was still believing that I was going to live.
Yeah.
N stands for never settle for death. Never settle for death. It was a coworker. I'll never forget. Her name is Miss Spouse. She retired. She looked at me one day and I said, well, I just won't get my nails and hair done. She said, oh, no, you don't. You continue to do everything that you're doing. You go get your nails done. You go get your hair done. If you want to go to a movie, you do it. If you want to go visit somebody, you do it. And I did it. And that's where I started embracing life at that point. And I didn't really realize it, but I was embracing it right there. Okay, C, completion of the process. I can piggyback and elaborate on it. I couldn't finish the rounds. I knew I had to do something. Oh God, what do you want me to do? He sent me an angel out of the clear blue sky.
Oh, wow.
One morning, a customer called me and she said, I've been thinking about you, Kim. How are you doing? I told her I was lying in bed and I was crying out to God because I was in so much pain. I was hurting. I wasn't feeling good. And what had transpired with me? She told me who to call and where to go.
Oh, wow. That's
E, expectation for the future. Keep looking to the future. Keep thinking about your plans. Keep thinking, I'm healed. Keep saying, I'm healed. Yeah. My mind was, once I come out of this, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. Meaning, I'm not going to die. Not now, God. It's not my time.
Yep.
Ara, reversing the curse. You have to reverse it. You have to talk to it, and you have to tell it, go back to the pit of hell. Yes. You have no place here in my life.
Yes. Say it again for the people in the back.
Go back to the pit of hell. I curse you, devil. You have no place here in my life. My body is healed. No matter how you feel, no matter how you look. Y'all, I felt terrible. Do you hear me? I was in a shell. I don't wish that feeling on nobody. And I know when people go through and if they have to take rounds of chemo, we already know that they're going to have some trying times. And in those times, it's time for everybody to rally around them and show them so much love and give so many prayers to God for them.
Yeah. Wow, you have like such an amazing spirit that, there's a lot of people out there that may be going through something like this. And I really hope that, no wonder the devil didn't want us to get on.
He didn't want us to get on because he figured this show was going to be really good. And that's why he didn't want us to get on, huh? Yeah, you're right.
We're giving him the boot.
Told him where to go.
Yep. So give us, let's see, we have about 10 minutes left. So tell us some things, some of your journey, like getting implants and, say even dating. How was that for you to even date?
I actually have no problem with dating. It has not been a problem for me. It's just that I haven't seen that really person yet. You know what I'm saying? It just, I had somebody in tow, and then that didn't work out. So I don't take myself and say, oh, it'll never happen. My sister, she encourages me all the time. I be like, girl, I'm my own independent woman. I'm going to keep pushing and working on my goals and da 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 da. She was like, well, just as soon as you get your mind off of it, it's going to pop up. She always say that all the time.
Yeah,
And I just said, well, I know what God promised me, but I don't let it define me. You know how some people,
absolutely.
they get so caught up in looking for the person or wanting the person, and they focus on it so hard.
Mm,
But God don't want us to do that. He want us to live every day in him and
right.
trusting and believing in him. And I'm thinking, I just keep my focus on my goals, on the things
Right.
I want to do, and the
Yep.
people I want to help, and the women I want to touch. And I just love that. And I'm just ready to really live and travel. I haven't traveled yet, and I'm ready to travel.
Good. You and I will travel together.
Oh, yes, we will.
I was just talking to somebody else earlier, and it's been prophesied to me, that I'd be traveling eventually and not really have, like, we were talking this morning. I've been doing this prayer thing. It's like unbelievable. We're on, like, it was supposed to be 30 days. We're on like day 52, I think, something like that. So I went from 30 to another 30, and I'll probably do another 30. But we were talking about things like that, what has been prophesied to us, and God is moving a lot of people around because He
He
wants
is.
in places. And so that was one thing that was prophesied to me, that I probably wouldn't stay in one spot. Like, I love where I am. I'm on Lake Norman. But I was telling Sharon, I'm like, I know I'm not gonna be, he's gonna move me around. I know it. I mean, I know
Yeah.
it's. I just enjoy being here as long as I'm here, and I want to make the best of it while I'm here, and whatever he wants me to do while I'm here. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like there'll probably be a lot of us that are feeling like we're gonna travel. We'll probably have like some little spot, that we sort of call home, but we're always
Mm-hmm.
elsewhere, staying at, other places. So I look forward to traveling with you, me, and my friend Sharon, and whoever else wants to come along. Definitely want to travel, and just do other things and see other places and help more people. Help more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. I
So
do have something I wanted to add. If you do, you
yeah.
have more questions for me?
No, go ahead. What did you want to add?
I wanted to kind of piggyback on the colors because
Okay.
I started to studying last year about the colors, the different types of colors, the different colors that represents different types of cancer. And some people don't really know that. At first, I didn't. Well, I just hadn't given it a thought. And then last year, I started to researching it because I sell pink pearls in honor of myself every year. And each year, I try to implement a new item, a new style of a pink, or some sort of necklace, or so forth, so on and so forth. But I found out, and I'm wearing a little hint of yellow, and I have a little this deep fuchsia dark pink on today.
Beautiful.
But yellow represents, it's called sarcomia or bone cancer. We all know pink is for breast,
Mhm.
turquoise is for ovarian, and Patti LaBelle, her sisters and her mom, I think it was more than one sister, died from ovarian cancer. I found this out years ago. I saw her on an interview, and she was
Mm.
dressed in this turquoise, and she looked absolutely amazing. And she said she was an advocate for that color because she wore it in honor of her sisters and her mom. And she always was afraid that she was going to have that and die the same way. But God is so good. She's still here and she
Mhm.
doesn't have it. And so that turquoise is for ovarian. Orange is for kidney cancer and liver cancer.
Oh wow.
Pancreatic cancer is yellow, teal, and purple.
Hmm.
Dark blue is leukemia and purple. And I have a coworker who works with me, she was on the platform interview I did 2 weeks ago, where I had these other ladies to come in, and I wanted them to share their stories. It wasn't about me, it was about them. And I
Mhm.
wanted to share my space with somebody else. And she had a rare type of blood cancer. Now, I cannot think of the name of the blood cancer. And she told me her color is purple.
Okay.
And it was 15 years ago. 15 years ago. And I was like, are you serious? And she said, yes, because she was new to the school this year. When she came in on the first day of school, when we all assembled around for the faculty, meeting and staff, and, everybody introduced themselves. She was new at our school. And so I had no idea that she had it. So we got to talking one day, and I was telling her about my journey and what I was doing. So I asked her, would she be willing to, speak on the platform? So she was, and she was very inspiring. She talked a lot about it, and she gave out pointers on things that, you could do when you were going through, and what to eat and what not to eat. And I can kind of tell you what you do. You nibble on something, and you really can't eat. I mean, you just can't eat.
Yeah.
But she had, her color was purple, and then I had another guest that had this thyroid cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Hers is multicolored, and it's purple. I want to say purple pink, and it's another color. I need to get the colors from her. I didn't have a chance to get in touch with her to get them, to share them today. But they're on the page out there, you guys. If you all haven't watched the videos, they're still out there on the page. All the videos are right up at the top of my page. But it's so interesting because I never really given it a thought. Everybody
No. Yeah.
just knew the pink ribbon, and I just thought the pink ribbon was the pink ribbon, but it stands for breast cancer. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just been kind of talking about it a little bit and kind of educating people on it, because we got so many different types of cancer out here.
Oh yeah. Yep.
People are getting sick. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but
No,
that
that's
was
fast.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So we got about 5 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Please put them up in the comments so we can answer questions. Kim, tell us how you talk about your page. If you want people to join your Facebook group, your page, how people can reach you if they want to get in
Okay.
touch with you.
I got 3 pages, Lord. Okay, so you can go to Kim Broadway. That's the regular page. And what
Mhm.
I learned in my entrepreneurship journey, that a couple of years ago, one of my entrepreneur sisters that lives she resides in New York. She went with me. I'm a moderator for Online Success Made Simple. So when I was
Okay.
selected to be on the panel for that, we went down my Facebook page, and I just had all kind of stuff on the page, floating here, floating there, and somebody shared this and that. And she was like, if somebody were to look you up, they go down here, they're gonna stop. They're not gonna look at you, because they're gonna like, what is all this?
Yeah.
So she showed me how to weed out the stuff, and the page is supposed to actually represent who I am and what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to my regular page, you can find me on the Kim Broadway, and there's an interview sitting right there that I did with Terry Spicer. That was my first interview on breast cancer. I think it
Mm-hmm.
was 2017. It was 2017. Yeah, it was 2017. It's pinned to the top of my page. Um, then you can find me in my group. My little fam
Mm-hmm.
is Beautiful Boutique Babes.
Oh,
You
nice.
can put that in there, and that'll pop up. I have my riders in there that follow me dearly. And I
Mm-hmm.
like to keep it open to the regular page, because I have more people over there, and I have more, and I can reach out. A lot of my classmates, are out
Right.
there. So I just kind of interact with all of them. And then I have the Lifestyle Boutique page, which is the business page.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And what's your contact information if anybody wants to reach out to you?
Okay, if you want to reach out to me, you can go to any one of my pages, and you can message me. I'm
Okay.
on Messenger as well. It's Kim Broadway. It'll come up. If you A lot of people, I do have a space. I work out of the space and out of the home, out of my place. So if you want to come to my space. It's 1123 South 3rd Street, Suite A, and that's Memphis, Tennessee, 38109. And I am there by appointment. As you know, the time is getting ready to change.
Oh, I
And
know, right?
so I usually do a little, I change my route and my stuff when it time change, because I don't want to be, coming out or somewhere late by myself and stuff like that. I don't want to do that. So I don't think that's a wise thing to do. So
Yep. All right. Well, we have about 2 minutes left. I'm going to try. I forget how to do this, but I did upload your QR code for your book
you
and your
did.
book. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see if I can get that up here. Give me a moment. So more technical issues, you guys. Bear with me one moment.
Okay.
See if that works. Cinema. No. All right. Let me see. Go here. No, we have to hide. Hold on. I have to take us out.
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Hold on. Okay, let me show the book. All right. So there's probably a better way to do that, but I don't know all the ins and outs. Not
Well, the
a big
end results is what counts. If it's out there, we wanted to
right.
get it out there. So
Yep.
that's what counts.
Definitely. Well, I am so thankful that we fought the devil and won.
Yes, we did.
Thank you, Kim, for pushing through. Some people would have gave up and said, "Forget it." So I'm glad you pushed through. I know we were about 10 minutes late, but we got through it. I apologize. I was a little frazzled in the beginning.
I was like,
But
no, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna get there. Let's just take stop. Let's just take a deep breath
deep breath.
and
Yep.
breathe. And in the process, I'm still doing this here.
But your
And we
story
made it. Yay.
your story is what mattered. It got out. People got to hear your
Yeah.
journey, what you've gone through, what you're still going through.
Yeah.
You still have to watch your diet. You still have to go for testing. You still have to deal with dating and all of that. So there's a lot. I mean, one last thing I'll leave you with. I mean, I remember my mom, she was older and my dad had passed away and everything. She had a double mastectomy, but one, like, I don't forget, 1990, and then another one like 10 years later or something like that. So it always bothered her to date. I mean, she was older anyway, so it was tough on her. But I think because of the breast, issue, it bothered her all the more to even try to date again.
Yeah.
So, and I knew that. I could see that. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, she was old school. Nobody compared to my dad. But I don't even think she just didn't even want to have companionship or any, you know what I mean? It just bothered her.
Yeah.
So there's so much difference now that they're doing so many, like you say, there's so many, you can have surgery and it was different back then. So thank God for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot, because I could have got nipples. But then after going through the third surgery and the doctor was getting ready to say, well, I'm going to have to send you to Louisiana to get the nipples. I'm like, oh, no. I ain't even going. We're not doing this. I'm through. I'm done. I'm not doing nothing else. Because, see, I didn't anticipate on having 3 surgeries. See, I had to go back 2 weeks to get that skin removed. So I didn't know. That was just something that happened during surgery. I was tired of getting cut on and going through that. I didn't want to go back. I was like, okay, it's gonna be what it is. It's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll leave on this note. I just want to put this out there. When I was in Massachusetts, we used to have a photographer, and he was a very clean cut photographer, nothing sleazy or anything like that. He would have these like boudoir sessions, but I remember one time we had a person that had cancer in there, and I think there was a couple of them. I can't remember, but they'd get all like dressed up and have these beautiful photo shoots. It was the best time of their life because of all that they were going through with the cancer and everything. And then they had these beautiful photos after and everything. It was just amazing, to just see them light up, to see themselves look so gorgeous again.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you
Mm-hmm.
had talked about being a fashionista. Think about having, and I don't know if you do already, something. It doesn't have to be a boudoir session, but something where they get all dressed up and made up and beautiful, and because that means the world to that. It means the world to anybody. But imagine someone who's going through all this crap. They don't think they're beautiful. They it's a stigma, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So stuff like that just make them feel so much better and so much more beautiful again. So, and they enjoy it. You can have like a spa night, get dressed up, take some beautiful photos. Heck, with the holidays coming, that'd be a beautiful gift for somebody. So I just
It
wanted to throw that out.
would. It
Yeah.
would. And each year I try to think of something different. So there
Mm-hmm.
may be something I'll do, coming up, in the
Yeah.
next
So
year or
think about
so.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
anybody listening, like I said, it was absolutely everything was done with, no sleaziness, put it that way.
Yeah.
You hear the word boudoir and you're like, oh. No, it wasn't. It was very clean cut and just beautiful. There was no
Mm-hmm.
other word for it.
Yeah.
So, and his wife was always there, and so it was very clean cut. So anyway, but thank you again for being on, Kim. Thank you again for pushing through. Thank you, everybody, for waiting for us and pushing through. We appreciate you. We appreciate the replay viewers. So, apologies for the first few minutes of me being frazzled. But
Share the
thank
video,
you again.
y'all. Share, like, and share the video. Share the
Yes,
story. Share,
yes,
share.
please. And give Elevation TV Network some love. Whatever platform you're on, go over to YouTube and like and subscribe to their videos, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here without them. So thank you again, and we will see you next Sunday. And again, I'm looking for sponsors and people to be on the show. So reach out to me. People need your stories. As you can see, the devil doesn't want them out there.
That's true. That's true.
People need it. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.